Hello, welcome Division G Toastmasters. I'm your 2017-2018 Division G Director, Charlie Woods, and I'm here today with Stuart Pink.
Hello.
Stuart Pink is kind of a celebrity in District 31. So I thought this would make a great interview, and of course my theme for this month is speech contest. And so Stuart, welcome to the Division G YouTube show here. And I just want to start by asking, what club do you belong to? How long have you been in Toastmasters? And what drew you to Toastmasters?
Well, thank you for having me, Charlie.
Yeah.
I'm a member of Providence Toastmasters, and I've been a member now for about 6 years. And as you can tell if you don't know me, I'm not from America, I'm from England. And the funny thing about England is England has Toastmasters too, but I had never heard of it in England. And I came to America about 6.5 years ago, and I've always liked speaking, and I found out about these speaking clubs called Toastmasters, and I thought, well, that sounds like fun. And I joined Providence. And funny story, the reason I joined Providence at the time was that I didn't drive, and of course I could catch a train to get there. There are many reasons why I've stayed. It's a fantastic club, a very diverse and interesting club. But I've loved every minute of being a Toastmaster.
Okay, interesting. And of course you know how to drive now.
I do know how to drive now, yes.
All right. And so one of the things that obviously you're famous for here in District 31 is you came in third place in the International Speech Contest Finals. So I think that's pretty cool, but I thought I would ask, what drew you to speaking contests?
Well, when I joined Toastmasters, I heard about the speech contests, and I thought they sounded interesting. And I think the thing that really interested me is that what you're trying to do with a contest speech is get everything right. Oh. When you go through your CC manual, you focus on one thing at a time, and then you get to speech 10 is a bit like a contest speech, where you try and put it all together. And then the contest is a bit like taking speech 10 and going a level further with it. And the amazing thing, if you win the contest, is you get to give it again. So each time you win a level of the contest, club, area, division, district, you get to go back and make your speech even better. And to me, I did it 3 years running. I was in the contest and luckily won the district. It's such a learning experience to go through, just invaluable for me.
Okay, yeah. So that's a question that I wanted to ask, especially with our audience in mind. Do you think every Toastmaster should compete in a speech contest, and why is that?
I would probably say yes. I mean, if you find speaking scary, there's no doubt that entering contests is also a bit scary, but it's the very reason that you join Toastmasters, to work on your speeches. And the first thing to know about speech contests is it's not about winning. It really isn't about winning. Even when I was competing for the World Championship, it's not about winning. It's about the journey and the learning process, what you get out of it. And if you have that attitude in mind, you keep your sanity through the whole process. I have certainly met Toastmasters around the world who would say, no, it's all about the winning. And they can become bitter if they don't win. That's the first point. The second point is the people that you meet.
Okay.
It's amazing. And it was the contest experience that took me out of my club. That's when I discovered these things called areas, and then divisions, and then districts. And at each level, and the semi-final stage, the final stage, meeting people from around America and around the world, you realise we have so much in common, but so much to learn from each other. And I've found whenever I'm in a contest, I feel like I've just made new friends. It doesn't feel like an actual contest against people where someone wins and someone loses. It feels like you've made a whole lot of new friends, and I would recommend that to anyone. Yeah.
So that's very interesting. I'm glad you brought up that point of, engaging in the speech contest. It does take you out of your club, whether you won the speech contest and now you're competing, or if you sign up to be a judge or a ballot counter timer. or you just go and attend an area division contest and the district conference. So that's a great note, and so I'll just plug that for a minute. Your area directors and myself as division director will all be hosting contests, and so it'd be wonderful if you're listening to this, if you're interested, you can volunteer to be a judge, ballot counter timer, or just go and attend and just see what that's like and meet some new people. You will meet wonderful people. All right, and so I thought it'd be interesting to ask you, how did you prepare for speech contest when you first got started, and maybe how is that different than how you might prepare for a speech contest today?
Well, I think probably the biggest difference is when I started, I didn't really know what I was doing, and everything was new, so I didn't really know what to expect either. And so probably the difference between the first year and now is I probably relied a lot more on other people telling me, giving me advice, and all of it was well-meaning. Some of it was probably more useful than others, and so probably the biggest change now is I'm much better at knowing when advice and feedback in my speeches is useful. And I've received feedback sometimes that has destroyed my speech. I had that one time. I didn't realise it. I got the feedback. I thought, oh, thank you. That was an interesting point. And the next day, as I thought about how the point applied to my speech, I realised that my speech was over, and then I actually had to start with a whole new speech. And so I've just got better at evaluating my own speeches, but also knowing when people have really good points that I need to take on board.
So I just want to make sure I understood. So you're saying the feedback was good, but at the same time it destroyed the speech that you had.
Yeah, it was great feedback that ended up being fatal to my speech, and I don't think any of us realised at the time. It was a very honest, open comment that was made, and certainly the person giving it didn't realise it had the implications it did. It was only as I was processing it the next day I thought, oh, actually I don't think this speech works anymore, and so I had to change it. But so the biggest change now is I can make a lot more progress by myself.
Okay.
But still, it's helpful to get the advice of good people that can give you good feedback.
Yeah, I know with Nancy Oliveira, what she was doing to prepare for the international semifinals was going around to the different clubs. And it's very interesting because she was working on her second speech.
Yes.
Because you need two.
That's right.
You know, these days. Did you need three when you were competing?
No, for me it was always two. I don't know, but it's about to change again because I think the current format of every district winner going to a semi-final, I think that ended this year. I'm not sure if that means we're going back to regional contests next year after you win the district, but before you get to the final. We'll have to see what that means.
Yeah, very interesting. Yep. So, I mean, some of us are still working on just that one amazing speech, but that's, like we said, that's just part of the process. Now you got to take yourself from just having one great speech to really having two. Okay. So I wanted to talk a little bit about your book. So Stuart, you wrote a book, Brainarium, Exercise Your Creativity. And I read through this book, very interesting, a lot of different exercises in there to help people with their creativity. And so I just wanted to ask you, why is creativity so important to you that you have felt that you needed to write a book on it?
I think it is one of the most fundamental skills that we have as humans, but also that we need as humans. And I think that everyone has heard of creativity, but I think that there's a real gap between how important creativity is and how important we treat it in our society. And I think the biggest mistake is we start off incredibly creative as young kids, but then by the time we're adults, most of us have allowed ourselves to think that we're no longer creative, and that being creative belongs to just a select few people like artists and writers. And that's wrong, and I want to change that thinking. And also help people realise that creativity is just like physical exercise, or just like any skill. If you do more of it, you can get better. And it's easy to start, and you can build on some very, very basic ideas and exercises and be more creative.
Yeah. And so, I mean, obviously that's going to apply, and it'll help people no matter what job or role they have, whether as parent, partner, or you're at work, or, you know, you're playing sports or something. But specifically our audience is Toastmasters. So do you have any tips or tricks for us? How can Toastmasters be more creative? Or like, where can creativity really benefit somebody in their Toastmasters work?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a few obvious areas. First of all, table topics. If you think about the definition of table topics, that is a creative exercise. And I mention it in my book because you have to think quickly and come up with ideas. So you're practicing your creative skills. But I think clubs as well might have a situation of thinking, well, how can we get more members? What can we do to attract more people? And so there might need to be some creative thinking there. And in the book, one of the things I do is set out different themes of creativity. And if you understand the different themes, it's easier to be creative. So one example of a creative theme would be to get different perspectives. And that could be from other people. And so we talked about leaving your club and going out into that big, wide Toastmasters world. Well, it's amazing. When you meet people from other clubs, you realise they're just like you. Their clubs are just like you. But they might do some things differently. And one thing I would recommend every Toastmaster to do, not just district officers, but travel to other clubs, visit other clubs. I've probably been to about 20 now, including I went to a club back in England. That was great fun. It's always fascinating to see how different clubs do things, and that gives you these ideas that you can then build on or adapt for your own club.
Yeah, and that's one of the benefits that people get. We have a team of area directors this year, and the area directors, their job is to go and visit, you know, like 4, 5, 6 different clubs, and they have to go twice a year. So there's like an element of like, okay, hey, I need to create new ideas. What do I do? How do I do that well? But then there's another element of being successful, which is just like, you know, go check out what other people are doing.
Yes.
And gather the ideas, and then being able to figure out, hey, what are these ideas? Which ones do I think will work for me, or what I'd like to try out? Just being willing to try things.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, this has been really wonderful. So thank you guys in the audience for checking this out. Thank you very much, Stuart. For this opportunity to pick your brain a little bit. So where can people go to find out a little bit more about your book and creativity and a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I mean, I'm on social media, but my website is brainarium.com. So if you'd like to learn more about creativity, then please do check that out.
Okay, wonderful. And I would like to encourage all of our Toastmasters in the audience to sign up for a speech contest. It may be late for this round, it might not be, but if not, start thinking about the spring. And you know, you've got the International Speech Contest there and table topics. So the table topics is very easy to enter. That would be a wonderful contest for people to just get started, try it out, and just read some of the benefits that we've talked about. So as your division director, Charlie Woods, thank you very much.
Goodbye.